It's Saturday evening. It's Batman Day, and here I am to talk with Drew from Comics Elite. How you doing, Drew?
I'm doing great, Wes. Yes, it's the happiest time of the year. It's Batman Day, but let's talk about the best comics of the week, including Batman this week.
As you mentioned, we are going to talk about Batman and Robin. Number one, Josh Williamson, Simone DeMille on this one. And we're going to recommend it. You know, it is best of the week, but it's not the best of the week. This is like firmly in the certainly good enough to read, but not very exciting. I don't know what DC Comics were thinking making this at the exact same time as Gotham War and then kind of tying them together, because it feels like Josh Williamson has his hands cuffed to where he can't do anything high stakes with the actual plot or story itself. The reason that you like this comic book and people that are going to enjoy it really is because of that Bruce Wayne, Damian Wayne dynamic, them trying to be a functional version of a father and son kind of on their own. And that part of the comic book I do think is very successful.
Yes, it's good elements, but like you said, when does this take place? Like I told you before we went live, like I have so many questions about this book when it takes place, like especially in contrast with the Gotham War. But because if you put it compared to the last issue of Batman, this does not make sense because it sticks out like a sore thumb. If you remember, Bruce lost his brownstone. He lost that mansion, and he lost the mansion as well to Vandal Savage. He is effectively.
I thought he lost the mansion to Vandal Savage, and that's why they moved into Brownstone, because they lost Wayne Manor.
I thought he lost both in Gotham War, but I'm probably wrong. You're probably right. But anyway, but on top of this, like I'm trying to figure out how old Bruce and Damian are supposed to be in this story, because Bruce is illustrated like he's a guy in his 20s, and Damian looks like a teenager. So the age, and like, is it because how they're written, it really feels like it takes place kind of not long after Grant Morrison's Batman story that he wrote like 20 years ago. Like there really isn't much of a relationship there between these two. Where is the sense of urgency going on as comparison with the Gotham War? Like it's acting like nothing is happening. They're not in hiding. They're not trying to. I don't get it. Too many questions.
Yeah, I think it was a mistake to launch this during Gotham War because it just created more problems than really answers to have. But of all the comic books that are taking place in Gotham War and reference it, this is easily the best one.
Yes, absolutely. And has one of the best panels. I will give this comic this. There's one great panel. It's with the rifle that the mysterious Shush is using. It is one of the best, most realistic looking rifles I've seen in a comic in a long time. It's great. It's beautiful.
I really like Simone DeMille as an artist, but I don't think Simone DeMille, like as a Batman artist, was the greatest idea in the world. I understand taking the job because it is Batman or whatever, but I don't feel like you're getting that full Simone DeMille flavor with this comic book. Like you lose a little bit of the sexiness that Simone DeMille puts into his comics, the character designs and stuff. It doesn't feel like the right match. But I do think he does the best that he can.
Yes, he does the best that he can. But yeah, I will get some of the character art he does for, especially the monsters, like Killer Croc. That is not Killer Croc. I hate that image of how he drew him. But yeah, he's doing the best he can. I do appreciate that. I think he will get better. It could have been a heck of a lot worse. It could be better. But Simone, for the story he's given, it's okay. I'll take it.
We are recommending this one. It is Batman Day. Is the key. Yes. It's fine. It's fine for what it is, but it could have been so much better. So it does feel like a missed opportunity. You are relaunching Batman and Robin, one of the most influential, most important comic book titles of all time.
And it has a good mystery as well. Like I said, with this mysterious, they don't say the name Shush. You see the bandages wrapped around the hands as they're holding the sniper rifle. And I like where that's going with that. It's a great element toward the end. And I do like you said, the bonding between Damian and Bruce. There's some great stuff there, and I hope we get more of that.
We'll see where that one goes, but it's probably the best Batman comic book that's out right now. Unfortunately, during Batman Day, this is as good as it gets. But really, if you want the really high-quality stuff, you've got to go to the indie scene where we're going. The Enfield Gang Massacre #2, Image Comics, Chris Condon, Jacob Phillips. We were raving about this comic book on the first issue. I continue to rave about this comic book on the second issue. And my goodness, this thing is just a bloody mess. It turns out the town folks are blaming the Enfield gang for everything that's happened. Are they correct in that assumption, or are they not correct in that assumption? I think one of the better things about the story is I don't know if they did it or not. I don't know if they deserve this, but it kind of feels like maybe they didn't, but they probably did. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. But my goodness, did they go after him?
Yeah, so I wasn't. That was when I was at Chicago Fan Expo when you reviewed it. I think it was with Jim, and I checked it out after the fact. And yeah, I was blown away by issue 1 of it. It was beautiful. So I'm a big Western fan, and when I saw issue 1, I got excited. When I saw issue 2, I got more excited, and this did not disappoint. This series has a real spaghetti Western feel to it. And when I say that, it's like to the younger viewers out there, that was the term dubbed for low budget Westerns made in Italy back in the 70s. And I love the characters in this. I love the town. And it's a town trying to defend themselves against the bad guys. Sold. It's great. Is it a trope? Yes. But when it's done right, does it kick ass? Absolutely. And the violence in it, yeah, I love it. Take my money. Any day, every day. But I will say, but there's one thing about it my brother Kyle brought up is that he's a big video game fan. I don't play video games, and he said it's similar to Red Dead Redemption. But however, I don't play video games. I never heard of it, but I had a blast reading it. Wes, did you notice any similarities to it with Red Dead Redemption?
I never played Red Dead Redemption or read a review on it or anything.
Yeah, so neither have I. But yeah, this is one of the best Westerns right now next to the Bass Reeves comic, which is terrific as well. Please check this out. It's very, very entertaining, very bloody. It's a great Western.
Man, why am I not surprised Kyle went completely Debbie Downer on a great comic book?
He is the proverbial Debbie Downer. That's it.
Jeez, that's why everyone calls you Keel. You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh, he earns it.
Next comic book to recommend, Bloodborne, the Bleak Dominion #1 Titan Comics, Cullen Bunn, Peter Kowalski on this one. I guess this is the third part of this story. I've never read Bloodborne before this. In fact, before we started recording, you said, hey, this is a video game. I was like, I had no idea this was a video game. I looked at the cover art of the video game, and I do believe this is a comic book adaptation of a video game universe. But there's some really cool stuff going on here. Cullen Bunn, I used to trash this guy, and I feel terrible about it because Cullen Bunn at Marvel Comics is absolute garbage. It's absolute trash. But Cullen Bunn on a horror-based superhero or a horror-based comic book is absolute gold. Continues on with this Bloodborne series. This is the second edition that he's done. Peter Kowalski, the artist, has been on every single issue that they have done. And it's a really cool story they got going on. There's like 2 timelines. They seem like they're pretty close to each other because the characters basically look the same. But there's this younger character. His name is Lucian. He wants to be like this master hunter. He lost his sister. And he's kind of being goaded by her almost to go into this extra dimension. And these other 2 kind of caretakers are looking after him. And they end up having to follow him in there. I'm not exactly sure everything that's going on. I clearly need to go back and read the other comic books. Although L.S. Cott did the very first storylines in it, I probably won't go back that far. But I'm certainly intrigued. It's in Cullen Bunn's wheelhouse. It's really cool horror stuff. And the art by Peter Kowalski, like, I've never seen your art before, but this is really good.
It's a video game, so I don't play video games. I only knew about it because my brother Kyle told me about it. I saw it and I'm like, oh, hey, this looks pretty cool art. But I will take what you said. I'll take your advice on this. I am going to try to check it out. It wasn't ordered by us. We didn't find it's unfortunately, so I couldn't read it. But yeah, I do love Cullen Bunn, especially where he's at now. Like not so much, like you said, not so much Marvel. His Marvel stuff is hot garbage. But if you read what he's done for Shadow Man at soon to be defunct Valiant. Yeah, soon it's beautiful. I love his Shadow Man stuff. But I will try to find this and read this because I do like horror, as you know, and it looks amazing.
Yeah, you'll like it. You'll like it more than I did. Now let's get to a couple of comic books that you recommended that I actually haven't even seen yet. Crusader #1, Mad Cave, Matt Emmons with Andre Lukin. Judging from the cover, we've got some knights from the Crusader age. They look like Knights Templar to me.
Yes, you are 100% correct in this. Yeah, I took a chance on this because it looked interesting based on the cover because I do like the Knights Templar. So yeah, we have a Knight Templar here who travels to a weird, strange land because of one of his fellow knights. Sold. Take my money. This knight is brave. He's a fighter. He never retreats, and he's trying to survive and get back home to help his brothers in battle. But of course, there are forces at work who may be trying to use him to escape their land. Great monsters, great dialogue, great art, great characters in general. I'm hooked and can't wait to see what happens next with our hero trying to get home. It's a great story. It's a great trope. Take my money.
Man, you are not the only fan of the Knights Templar. I absolutely love reading historical fiction and just historical information about them. Scintillating stuff, and I'm definitely going to have to check that one out. Although Mad Cave is very hard to get my hands on out here in the Philippines.
Gotcha. I'll reach out to Joe Corallo. He's writing for them. I'm sure he could probably hook you up.
Maybe Joe could help me out. We've got one final recommendation from the indie scene. I haven't read this one. Kill More #1 from IDW. Scott Bryan Wilson, Max Allen Fuchs. I'm sorry, I probably got that one wrong. Is the artist on this one. But Jim said it wasn't very good. And when I looked at the cover, it was like a creepy old lady on it. Really creepy grandmas are not my thing. And it kind of freaks me out. So I decided I just wouldn't check it out because Jim said it wasn't good.
Yeah, normally, 9 times out of 10, I would not check out this comic. Initially, before reading it, I was expecting a crappy Netflix pitch, similar to ones from like James Tiny Onion, Scott Snyder, or Chip Zdarsky. But imagine my shock. No. So this blew me away. There's a lot to unpack here. Like Kyle, Max, and I, we had a lot of questions after reading this. Good questions. So sometime in the future, in this city called Colonia, they're going through an economic collapse. There's more than unemployment, and the city falling apart is the murder rate. There's few cops left on the force. They think it's part of the city's decline, but one detective who's still there has a theory that the most depraved killers in the country have all moved here to take advantage of the chaos. So he and his new partner, they're digging up their growing list of open cases. They find themselves in the crosshairs of these maniacs, and they're trying to figure out how to stop this city of killers. At the same time, there's also some small hints and teases about what's happened in the past. We see rockets on platforms that have failed, dead bodies trying to get to these rockets, mentions of colonies on Mars. There's great small hints here about this world, which are generating great questions. But there are other factors here are great. There are subtext. I mean, what's happened to this city, I see it as subtext to what's happened currently in the whole state of California, Portland, Oregon, Detroit, Michigan, New York City, Austin, Texas. Great cities turning into crime-ridden shitholes with people fleeing from them. And yes, I have been to them. They have become unbelievable, unlivable shitholes. Now, this comic isn't perfect. I mean, there's a lot of dialogue. The pacing is off, but there's some really great, unique, special, and clever writing and characters here. Please do check this out. You will not be disappointed.
Well, there you go. Those are indie comic book recommendations of the week. Let's move over because we still have one more Marvel and one more DC comic book to talk about. We'll hit Marvel first. Incredible Hulk #4, Philip Kennedy Johnson, Travel Foreman. I'm still recommending this one, but it does come with a caveat. This is the most low-effort Travel Foreman illustrated comic book I've ever seen in my life. There is an enormous drop-off, and it's hard to describe the drop-off from Nick Klein's art down to what Travel Foreman does in this particular comic book. That did make me mad, but the story itself is still pretty cool. We've got Bruce Banner and this girl, Charlie. They're going to head down to Florida. Interesting things are happening. I did like the moment where Bruce Banner was trying to get her to go away, not because he doesn't like her, but because he's dangerous and he doesn't want her to go down this path with him. She decides to stick with him, and then we get Man-Thing, and it turns out Man-Thing isn't even close to being the scariest thing in this swamp.
So real quick, what you just said earlier about a few seconds ago about the Banner and the young girl from the previous issues, when he's talking to her about her anger, it's beautiful. I love it because it's a great reflection of what was done incorrectly in Ghost Rider this week, which made the girl in the dragon tattoo insufferable, whiny, bratty victim. But here in Hulk, no, Bruce wants none of it. And he tells her like it is. It's amazing. I can't wait for the next issue. So back to the art on this. I parallel this to Ice Cream Man with that art. If you look at the art in Ice Cream Man, it's subtle and it's horror. It's creepy in its subtleness about that. It's kind of like a lurking fear in its subtlety. You don't know what's going to happen. You're waiting for the big reveal, a big turn, big shock to happen. And I like that about this art. It may come across as low effort. I do see that. But
if you were reading Ice Cream Man, illustrated by Nick Klein at his best, and then Martin Mazzaro came in the next issue, you would be like, what the hell is this?
That is very fair. But however, since I am also a fan of Ice Cream Man, I can go with this art. Yeah. But yeah, I do understand. It's a step down from Nick Klein, but Nick Klein, we did get him on the cover, which I will take. But I do like the subtlety in the art.
Falling down the Grand Canyon. What do you mean step down?
No, it's not.
Don't undersell this.
No. I did enjoy the art in this, and I do like the big reveal at the end with what this monster is in the bog swamp, like whoever this thing is. It's a great creature, how it looks. It would look better if Nick Klein drew it. I do agree, but I do appreciate this artist here. I do think there's a subtlety in its horror here. I do like it.
My goodness. What happened to Drew? Back in the day, he never would have championed low effort travel format.
No, it's not low effort. No, there's a subtlety here. No, he didn't. No, he is trying. No, it's
disagree.
Good.
It's still a good comic book.
Yes, absolutely.
But I feel Nick Klein not being on there, and it hurts my feelings. We have one more comic book to talk about. DC Comics. Not a great week for DC, even though they have 2 recommends. Green Lantern #3, Jeremy Adams, Zermanico. I'm enjoying Jeremy Adams' Green Lantern run. We're obviously in the very beginning stages of it. He does a weird flashback to where he kind of answers some questions at the end of the second issue because it rolls right into Night Terror. I don't need to be reminded that Night Terrors interrupted what was a promising start to a comic book series. Like, it felt unnecessary, completely unnecessary. But for the most part, I kind of like what Jeremy Adams is continuing to do and he's building here. We get some Sinestro and people are going to be very excited about that. But we also got this mystery. There's something with his ring. Obviously, it's not a traditional Green Lantern ring. This isn't even the ring that he forged with his own pure will. It was kind of spontaneously forged itself when he came into contact with somebody else that was trying to misuse a ring. That's like the best way I can describe that it came into being. And now he can make constructs that aren't green. Like, there's something going on here that's obviously a mystery that I think has potential to be very cool.
Yeah, there are hints and gleams of what could be cool to come. But yeah, like you said, this series has been hurt from Night Terrors because issue 2 came out in June. I think it was the last time that issue came out, and we opened on this. And I appreciate Jeremy trying to introduce the mystery of this ring with Hal and trying to figure it out. But I could not care less about him trying to create deer. I don't care about him trying to create a fawn and upsetting the whole circle of life. But anyway, to me, the best part of this comic is the backup by Philip Kennedy Johnson with John Stewart and Guy Gardner. I flippin' love that. How they are written, man, it's like a breath of fresh air. You have John, living with longing and wanting to be up in the stars, and his mom feeling guilty about him being down there because she feels like she's holding him back because she sees him looking to the stars. He wants to be there. But you have Guy Gardner and John, sitting together, talking about the old times. It really felt like I was talking with one of my old battle buddies from the Air Force. It felt so real and genuine. And the cliffhanger with what happens next, take my money now. I'll be there for the John Stewart backups. These are terrific, and it's great to see a writer who actually gets John Stewart and Guy Gardner.
Well, what happens next is not going to be a backup. It's its own series.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that's correct.
Green Lantern War Journal or something.
War Journal. Yeah, there's a cover with the dog tags on it with John Stewart. It looks awesome.
So those are our picks for your comic book recommendations of the week. We got one Batman comic book in there for Batman Day. We got a bunch of indie stuff, Green Lantern, as well as the Incredible Hulk. And I do want to say thank you very much to Drew. But you have something you want to tell the peoples.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Yes, Unholy Nightmare, #1. It is now up for you to sign up on Kickstarter right now. You can be signed up right now with your email address to be notified when we go live, which should be on Halloween day, morning or night. Stay tuned. But please sign up now to be notified. We may have something special to launch on Halloween if you signed up with your email address. We'll see. But you do not want to miss out on this, guys. It's a great horror action comic. Aurelio Mazzara and we worked our butts off on this. You will not be disappointed. Unfortunately, we do have to say goodbye now, but this doesn't have to be the end. Certainly not today. I've, in fact, made like 3,000 videos, maybe even more than that at this point. And YouTube has looked at what you like to consume, like what content you like to watch, what I've created, and decided this is the greatest video I ever created in the history of my life on my channel, specifically for you. Don't let the journey end. It's just starting.